Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yep, we are audible. So, welcome to the, no, maybe not the last race of the day, but the last broadcast race of the day. And yeah, we have a Rydia start. With me on comms, I am Mecha Link, and over there is Commander Leonhardt. He is the one that saw these objectives first, and he had a guarded reaction. Why don't you explain why you had a guarded reaction to this starting screen?
Well, the main reason, Mecha, is that oftentimes on this flag set, you end up not having to go to the moon at all, but with two moon bosses amongst them, we will definitely be needing to take a trip.
So that must be the advantage to Moo Mooney. This is the group stage of the Highway to the Threemus Zone tournament. People have 3 weeks to schedule 3 matches within their group. EizanTayama has scheduled 1 match and gotten 1 win already. Mooney, this is their first. And that's just the first phase of our multi-phase tournament.
Yep. Runners are going to move on from this phase depending on their records. So if Eizan can get a win here, that will give him a second win, which will guarantee at least moving on to the Magma group, still giving him a shot at table. Mooney's going to be looking to get off on the right foot with their first match.
That's right. The Rydia start. Rydia is the only character we get that starts at level 1 with a mere 30 HP and 10 MP, and the Chocobo summon. It's not great. Not great.
It's rough, but fortunately for this flag set, we have free characters, so there are a lot of places to pick somebody up to help cover that initial weakness.
That's right. Free characters is something that we're doing this time around that we didn't do in a number of the previous tournaments, notably Fagul Gauntlet being the most recent. So yeah, that definitely gives us more character optionality. But the flip side is we have the buy flag on now. So if you decide you no longer want a character, that character is gone. You might be able to find another instance of it, but the one you let go will not be coming back to you.
And even if you do find another instance of that character, you're going to start leveling them all over again.
That's right. Although if it's another edge, they do come with another black belt, so that's useful.
Give me all those black belts and those silver.
Right.
Belts. They sell nice.
Yep. Silver, but that resistance to spirits. Don't you need that resistance to spirits?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I want my pockets to work when I drink it.
The list of enemies that are spirits is a surprising one. Oh, we have a start. Oh, we got kids.
Yeah, we have Orum walking in, and we have Adamant.
So we have Girl Squad, and an Adamant start. Adamant is part of the first objective listed there. The Legend Sword and the Adamant together fulfill that first objective. And that is another change in Highway to the Threemus Zone. There are 4 objectives, and you only have to complete 3 of them to get your crystal, and thereby become able to beat the final boss.
And it's been a very nice option. It lets runners have different paths to get through the seed. You don't have to take the same route your opponent takes, and that's very exciting for us up in the booth and in the audience as well. It can look like a runner is completely out of it, and they will find their way into that last objective that the other runner left alone, and sometimes very quickly make it a race.
That's right. We have Yang facing off against Kane, Yang being the boss there. And after a brief stop on the coast, Eizan is checking out the free characters in Mysidia, while Moo Mooney goes for a swim.
Cecil and Rydia in Mysidia, that's From my point of view, not the most exciting find.
No, those are two characters that are very weak in the early game, and that's not what you're looking for. We don't have character restrictions, no gating. So while Fusoya is taking a vacation this summer, you could get an Edge in an early spot, and Edge is much more powerful than any of these characters is in the early game. So right now, Eizan was briefly thinking about where they wanted to go, and they are going to go to the Watery Pass.
And for another character, further complicating the issue with Cecil is that we have the vanilla agility flag on, so unless you can find second Cecil to use as an anchor, keeping one around is a tricky proposition.
I am glad to see agility anchoring come back. That's a skill set I have as an old school player, so having to see other people suffer with it is I feel an advantage. The most interesting thing Mooney found in the Village Mist, I think, is long swords in the shop, which are going to be the best sword you're going to find in ungated shops if you do find that edge. And that was an Edward in the Watery Pass, which Eizan was not ready to take. Why? Eizan has a character spot. Why wouldn't you just take the character?
You could just leave the character around in case you want to pick him up. It'll just bring us right back in on time.
So Yang pick up out of Edward's spot in Demosian, and we're taking.
Go ahead.
Sorry, and we're taking the hovercraft over.
And about that second Cecil, we find another Cecil along with King Queen Eblin.
So second Cecil is good because, as you said, you can use one of the Cecils as your agility anchor and the other Cecil as a full-on, unrestricted damage dealer if you can find the swords for him. This is a free boss in that it is scripted that after 3 fire 2s, they will become conscious. Then the king will die, and then the queen will die. So you just have to wait this out. Not necessarily fast, but they will succeed. Protect Ring. Oh, that is a very good item to find in Antlion.
Second in defense only to the Great Crystal Ring, but it also offers all-round elemental protection. Yep. Perfectly serviceable through the entire game.
Another good early pickup, the Black Sword that we saw Cecil wielding. The Black Sword is basically Cecil's own assassin dagger. Can't equip it once he's become a paladin, but it works just fine. And Dragon Whip too. Wow, we are getting some good high tier gear in these early chests.
Certainly fixing that early DPS problem, and D-Mist has been located.
The bonus round, as people call it. We may have free characters, but we don't have free key items, which means that instead of the Twin Harp position with Edward, we have put a key item with Rydia's mom once D-Mist is defeated.
So I would expect Eizan to make a quick run over. I know when I find D-Mist, I want to check Rydia's mom as soon as I can before I can forget about it.
Yeah, as they say, check your freebies. Yeah, as much as I'm very good at remembering that I have missed hit, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't check my freebies. Yeah, the fight's a little slow, which is unfortunate. And Mumuni going to check the Rydia vanilla fire spot, Mage, instead of getting fire, you get a random summon. No Bahamutes, but you can get some really good stuff. Mage is not good stuff.
It's not Imp, and there are a couple of niche spots where you're gonna pin something down. Oh, and look at
wow!
Legend Sword Kolkol Forge immediately online.
Wow, and Mumuni is going to join Eisen in learning about that very shortly. And so, yeah, that is Objective 1. As soon as we can access the Underworld, we get access to that Excalibur, which is a great sword for Cecil. We get access to the Kogel Shop, and we get access to 1 completed objective. So, wow, this set looks like it's going to the moon. That doesn't, could be a very quick, don't have to dig out the pan situation.
And this is an extremely friendly seed for those of us that are fans of the Paladin. And double Cecil early along with Adamant and Legend. Oof. You can't ask for than that.
Yeah, it's a nice clean start, and Mumuni is doing the full loot, and that means that Mumuni will find that Protect Ring there. So they're even up on kind of gear here. Mumuni does have lower damage potential, so this demist is probably gonna take a little longer, but not really a threat all the same. There's the Dragon Whip. Okay, so that will help if Mumuni remembers to put it on. And Eisen discovers second Cecil, and suddenly what was kind of a pain has become a decision. Wow.
I agree. I think I settle with 1 Rydia even with Sylph, although I'd certainly understand getting rid of the Punch Mage.
Yeah, I would. It's Rydia or Yang for sure. I would get rid of Yang personally, but I think that either one of those is a defensible choice. I was like, when the hovering over the Porum was like, what?
That would have been the fight. I mean, I know some people that are diehard Rydia fans and are perfectly happy to Sylph heal their way through the early and middle game, but that would have been a spicy move to be sure.
Yeah. I mean, with that many physical fighters, you'd want a source of Berserk, and Rydia doesn't have a source of Berserk. So.
Indeed. And that's one of the advantages Porum has over Rosa, is that she learns that spell faster.
Yep, 18 instead of 20. Eisen is also has to, wait out this fight. So, yeah, they're both, the first 2 fights that we're seeing out of them, actually pretty slow fights on the overall. But I think Eisen will come out of this sequence while they looted it a little more, but it looks like they'll come out of it a little faster than Mumuni does.
Agreed. And I hate to predict as a commentator what runners are going to do, because it seems like agree and decide to take a sharp angle turn, but I imagine Ordeals is next on the docket.
With 2 Cecils, even having 1 Black Sword, as nice as that is, you really do want to get a Cecil online. That said, we haven't seen really anything for Cecil to wield, except that Legend Sword when he changes. So right now, Black Sword is actually his best equipment. Yeah, and somebody in chat noting that Rydia's mom is still waiting. Eisen's using of the hovercraft has prevented them from kind of jumping on the check of Rydia's mom, but that is probably about to change.
And sure enough, we're going to get a look at that check.
Yeah, and only like 10 seconds difference between the 2. And Mumuni deciding to delay that a little bit. Just a White Spear.
For this party, yeah, just a White Spear. Nice to find a Dragoon or even a Ninja to throw it, but until now, it's just a big pile of cash.
Yep. That is the case. Alright, and so Eisen joining Mumuni.
This is why I don't try and predict as a commentator, because here they both go straight to football.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, right now we don't really have anything that makes us want to change Cecil over. Rydia's mom could have changed that for sure, but right now, I think just looking for a few more levels to make sure that the Sylph engine is online, to make sure selling middle, the legendary middle sword. You know how you call your swords short swords, long swords, and middle swords. Makes perfect sense. Oh wait, Golbez.
Look who's in for wool.
Another slow fight.
Overworld full of slow fights that you can probably win, but gonna be quick.
As Chad is saying, ha ha ha.
Indeed.
Protect will protect you from the attempt to crush, I believe, but not the paralyzation. So it's possible that Mumuni might end up having all three characters here if Shadow picks the wrong target. Nope.
Kaput.
Nope. Porum had the protect ring, so no luck there. Alright now. And yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yep,
Getting Moo started off a little quicker.
Yep, didn't re-equip the protect ring when Eizan cashed out that Rydia. Got rid of the Rydia with the Dragon Whip and the protect ring on them. So took gear off them, but didn't re-equip, and so that Rydia could have survived, right? Like, could have given Eizan a little more of a... But we see Eizan attempting to buffer a Star Veil into play successfully. And that's why Golbez does nothing but throw reflectable magic.
Yep. As long as he's in a spot where he doesn't have a dreaded combination of high hit points and weak magic or strong magic defense, then you'll get through the fight in reasonable order once you sit through cutscene.
And as long as you can get that Star Veil up, it is at spots where Golbez is fast enough. He can use board's targeting AI to kill your entire party in the order you attempt to Star Veil.
Alright, and in those times, it's nice to have some sort of protection from the paralysis to give you some actions during script. As long as you get eaten.
That's true. Pink tail under the bed. So we had a Dark Knight left a pink tail in Fabul ages ago.
Strange, but whatever works. That's not going to give us an adamant armor on this flag set, but once the hook is found, it can be turned in for some sort of tier 7 loot.
Yep, and here we see Sylph doing a good impression of an attack spell, 672 damage, very respectable, and Mooney going for the mom check, and we'll find their white spear.
And that should have both of our runners converging on ordeals right about the same time.
Yep, at the moment there are only 2 key item checks left in the overworld, ordeals and Baron Inn. So we have also seen every character that's currently available to us. And Mumuni briefly crashes into Baron before going for the Baron Inn. While Eizan is closer to ordeals, so I would be surprised. We haven't seen the ordeals character, it's true.
No,
but,
there's a lovely character to grab there on the way up.
Yep, instead of Tella. So I would be surprised if Eizan didn't go to ordeals at this point. But it looks like Eizan is doing more shopping. Wow. Yeah. Kane can wield that white spear as soon as you can. If you can get through this spot with 3 characters that don't have really good damage. Got the change, alright.
Doing a little dance.
Yeah. Kamikazes and exits, unicorns and cure 1s in the tavern. So not checking for cursed rings. Ouch. Alright. Silvera's next from Eizan, so. And we get.
Not quite vanilla.
No, Kaipo guards.
French vanilla.
Yep. The Kaipo guards are the guards that come after you and Rydia after you've blown up the Village of Mist. So in the vanilla game, you're supposed to solo them with Cecil, and it's not particularly difficult, even without Darkwave. But at this spot, they have something like 3,000 HP split between them, and so there's some damage yet to be done.
It's 4,000 total, but if you just want to get through, all you have to do is take out the 3 soldiers in the front. The officer has the lion's share of the HP, so he'll run away, cut them down. And since this spot doesn't give any XP, you don't need to worry about the fact that the officer has the lion's share of the XP either.
And the cowardly lion's share of the bravery, as they will run away once they don't have any soldiers to tell to attack. Eizan found vampires in Silvera, which are a good utility attack item in the early game.
Yeah, early on, and especially with the sort of DPS struggles that we've seen with this, picking up something in a shop that can be used to deal that damage can be very helpful in getting a push through a couple of tight spots.
Another Porum quickly dismissed. I knew there was something else that Eizan found. Eizan found the Thor's Rages as well. So, assuming they pick some up, the Kainazo is going to be handleable now.
Now we get to see the Baron Inn item.
Yeah.
Oh!
Magma Key. Mumuni made the fast choice, as it were. And not only has someone to wield that white spear for their troubles, has access to the underground, better chests, better shops, and of course, the Excalibur that will come from completing the first objective.
Right, and the best shop in the game, Kokol Shop.
Yep, one of my personal favorites. We've got Odin here in the vanilla Mylon and Friends spot. Not a particularly dangerous place to see Odin, as this spot doesn't have nearly the physical attack that it probably should. Mumuni going to the weapon and armor shops in the back, though it looks like they do want that cursed ring, if they can find one. Is that a power staff?
That is a power staff, or a shillelagh, as some like to call it.
Wow, and the cursed ring is hiding in the forgotten shop, as it were. This is a shop that is it's one of the most out-of-the-way weapon and armor shops, and is often bought by NPCs, but when this is where the cursed ring are, you are glad you took the time.
Shop, another reason when it's good to be having a Tella. If you get trapped back in there, you can just disappear.
That's right, and the reason cursed ring matters is because this being competitive racing situation, the agility that you have in certain spots agility in this game is complicated, and the cursed ring allows you to manipulate your agility in specific ways that can be very useful, especially on Threemus. So while in normal play, you generally aren't interested in a cursed ring. We've got backwards numbers.
Back attack plague is rough. Got that little delay when you're surprised by the back attack, and the numbers just start ticking.
Yep, the backwards numbers are going. Eizan has the right idea. Plague, when it sees anybody without numbers above their head, will immediately attempt to fix that and reapply the count to the entire party.
Yep, and with a quick revive, he's got that person up, so he should be just fine now.
One person's all you need there. That slows them down a bit, but they'll be able to get themselves back in this fight. As long as you can keep somebody without count on them, this fight is just annoying, not hard. But, I mean, that is time, and that's time that Mumuni is spending underground checking the freebies.
Yep. Continuing what seems to be a fine overworld tradition in this seed of bosses you can beat, but that are going to take your sweet time. And we have a vanilla rat tail.
Yep, vanilla rat tail. Cash it in at the same place as the pink tail, but this could be a key item. Coffins and star veils.
Just have to wait until he finds the hook to see what the rewards are for those two.
Yeah. Coffins and star veils in Feymarch. Coffins being the fatal spell, but without any delay in cast. Just 5,000 gold it costs. Star veils being reflect, which we've seen already. And Eizan has plague down.
And the best claw has been located.
Yeah. Thunderclaw is, of the 3 elemental claws, is the one that the most things are weak to. Silent Staff, Cat Claw, and a viable Thunderclaw, in case you missed the first one. Now, we saw Mumuni pick up the Cursed Ring, but they are still shop checking. What do you think they're looking for?
Gated armor shop. I've seen found sorcerer robes down here, and in this party I wouldn't complain.
That's true. Weapon and armor shops, though. And that's I'm wondering what weapon they're looking for. And we get a tower key out of Babel, out of Ordeal, so the only way underground is that magma key at Baron Inn.
Yep. That's the way. We'll get the last boss on Ordeals.
That's our white dragon. Poison axe and legend sword looks like our weapon complement for the Cecils at the moment.
Well, quick magma trip will change that.
That is true. New Mooney not cashing in their objective.
Is low hit point enough this could work. Yep. Counter if you're dead.
That's very true.
We were holding our breath up here in the booth.
Yeah.
Because Paladin likes to hit anyone that dares use a summon on him with a quake. But this spot only has 1,000 HP, so the Sylph is able to finish the job.
Yeah, that was actually scary. I was holding my breath as well. And we see Moo Mooney cashing in their first objective at just over 24 minutes. They will, be the first to light up an orb, so to speak. Boss made life staffs, Murasames, gold apples, and Leviathan summon. Whew. That is a powerful array of options.
Yeah, the Leviathan summon being the most relevant right at this moment, but until we get a hold of a ninja...
Yeah.
Well, Porum would appreciate that lifestyle.
Yeah. It's a solid set of options. It could be better, more powerful, certainly, but I think that there's a good suite of options if you want to power up your Rydias, or if you want to power up your white mages, or you want to power up an edge. Like, those are all things you might want to do, given that you just powered up your Cecil. Cure 3s in the Baron shop, which we hadn't noted before. That's an important item. Ninja swords are viable as well if you don't have the cash for a Murasame.
More significantly to me is that Moo Mooney has wandered to the back of Amra and looted the room, but not talked to Job Dwarf.
It's true. That is unfortunate. And we see Moo Mooney finds the sorcerer robe and the black robe, but not interested in those either. I really am curious what they are digging for in shops. Eizan going to the only place they can go, and they might beat Yang before they can trigger the script. Yep.
Nice things about fighting karate when you have a paladin is you can cut him down with an ouch somewhere just before he fires a second kick, but there just aren't enough hit points in that location for that to even be a concern.
And we saw hourglasses in the dwarf's shop, so Whew. We have all of the. We don't have Bacchus. We haven't seen Bacchus. We haven't seen Siren. So that's both of those things being missing are significant problems at the moment, especially since we don't have an edge to seal Sirens with.
It doesn't happen often on this flag set that you don't have Siren access, but it can happen every once in a while. So you've got to be prepared with another option.
Yeah, out of the 9 play-in races last Fabul Gauntlet, 7 of them had Sirens in this shop flag. 2 of them didn't. One of those that didn't was mine.
Gotta be ready.
Gotta be ready. And here is the first check. When you find Yang in the underworld, Sheila is concerned for his safety and health, and gives you a crystal sword for your trouble.
So, there was some interesting chatter in chat about Eizan letting both Cecils level up. Well, we've got 2 holy swords.
Yep. So that is, so we mentioned the idea of Cecil anchors before. I would really be getting rid of Yang here. All right, good. But one big note is that if the Cecils are good enough, it doesn't really matter. If the Cecils can do enough damage, it doesn't really matter what.
As long as you don't have a rude boss somewhere gating darkness,
right?
Absolutely need to get everyone at RA1. Although with a curse ring, you can probably still pull it off.
Yep. As I had mentioned, right, like there are some places where like Golbez will be fast, for example, right? Wyvern, Kainazo. There are a couple of other bosses where when they're fast, you are in trouble. And one of the things about vanilla agility is that you simply have less options to manipulate your agility. You can't put your, Sid in the middle because it doesn't matter anymore. It's always going to be a Cecil.
And we have seen Kainazo in one of those fast spots, the Asura spot in the Fey March.
Yep. Yep. And Mumuni and Eizan are retreading each other's ground as Mumuni's going to unlock their crystal sword and Eizan is going to unlock their Excalibur. It is worth noting that Leggy Starscream is the one handling our restream today. So thank you to her. And Poor Scythe is the one doing the tracking. So everybody can see what's going on. Be sure to follow them and the runners. Life and Starvale in the Agate shop for Eizan.
And also, thank you, Randomania, for holding the race for us. Goodness knows there are enough races going on in the tournament that having partner channels to help us out is greatly appreciated. Yep,
partner channel, Randomania is a good partner, and we do not see Eizan go back to where the curse ring is hiding, so Eizan's going to have to hope that one of the tier 4 items that they find in a chest is a curse ring.
But Eizan, no surprise, going directly to Kolkol's shop to get their first objective crossed off and get an Excalibur in a Paladin's hand.
Makes sense. When Mumuni went underground, they didn't have a Paladin Cecil, so they waited to do this. But with Eizan, might as well do it as early as possible. We get backward numbers again on Mumuni's side.
So what is then the next move? Eric trying to predict again, but Eizan's gotten underground. I would certainly expect a Sheila 1 check and that Fey March freebie.
Yep.
He's a little bit ahead in terms of checks, just has to get through ordeals. Really warp very fast, and with the warp glitch on, I'd expect a Dwarf Castle placing.
That's right. We have Dwarf Castle, but we also have Tower Key, right? So those are both 2-for-1 key item spots that are waiting for our runners. And yes, the warp glitch is on in this tournament. In vanilla, you can use warp to get the darkness crystal from the back of Dwarf Castle and therefore sequence break the entire underworld. When the warp glitch is on, you can do the same, but it will, of course, be whatever random key item is in the sealed cave. So still useful, but it's not an auto darkness crystal. Etcher. He would like to show you his etchings.
Eizan, the hero we deserve. Checking
Yep. And Mooney did not get through Plague first time around. So going to give it another shot.
You want to get on knocking down one of your characters real fast when Plague has that back attack head start.
Yep. Oh, they are just not commanding fast enough here. When Eizan went through, they did their command for that action on 5, not 4.
But they're going to be fine because
I got it this time. All
a
right.
swoon hit on his own teammate to make sense.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta give him the assassin dagger.
Not a thing you see every day.
Not a thing you see every day, no. All right, so yeah, with that, Mooney should be able to get themselves through this fight. Now that they have kind of full control of the situation, as Eizan roots the Fey March.
And that white spear doing good work against a floating enemy should be just fine now.
Yep. The air element is something that floating enemies are weak to. Spears and bows and arrows and boomerangs, I believe, all have that element. And so it is extra damage. Significant extra damage. Oof.
Cut it a little close there, and going to have to try it again.
Yeah, I generally just start lifing people. It's a matter of course. So Octomammoth and, as you said, Kainazo, that's rough. No exits on the party for Eizan, so little slip up there as they go to their menu, don't find any exits, and...
I believe Cecil needs to be level 19 to learn exit, and just hasn't done enough since Ordeals to make that happen.
Yep. So,
you don't have to walk through the cave.
No, so Eizan going to the back exit to the Cave of Summoned Monsters, but still burning a little time that I don't think they expected to burn here. And then, briefly attempting to fly through.
Sheila 1, about to be rewarded with a crystal sword.
Trying to fly through Sylph Cave doesn't work. Not cleared for airship access.
I'd love to see that, just an airship just burrowing down straight through. Maybe if we equip the drill from the Falcon on the bottom of the airship?
Yeah, maybe with the drill. I don't know. I think the Sylph would take umbrage.
We might not get the item from them then. That's good.
Yeah. All right. And we check on Kan and Yang, and then we are likely off. The only thing is Eizan might try to take the tower here because it is technically on the way, but nope, they decide to do the freebies check and will be, as you say, rewarded with the Crystal Sword. The Crystal Sword is, the Excalibur is good, it's a good weapon. The Crystal Sword is a cut above. It is better than every weapon by far, numerically. It is unreal how good the Crystal Sword is. Ooh,
pretty nuts.
Mooney, unfortunately, that is the third wipe now. Adjusting they are adjusting. They are trying to make this fight work, but...
And with that Excal in your pocket, you're absolutely determined. In different circumstances, you might just walk away from this Ordeals and elsewhere, but you don't want to turn down being able to swing an Excalibur.
Yeah, and the crystal as well, right? Mooney's looking at Crystal Excalibur just tearing through the underworld as soon as they can get through this spot. There we go. That's a command on 5. So
And once again with the swoon.
Yep. That's all you need. And poor him swooning over Cecil, a little old for you, but everybody has a schoolgirl crush sometime. And yep, Eizan picks the Dwarf Castle option.
Attack 209 on a level 11 character.
Yeah. Back row glitching Cecil. That's a glitch that we basically. I don't even think we can turn it off yet. The back row glitch being a vanilla glitch, which lets once you've got something that says you've got a back row weapon, you've got a back row weapon. You've got back row marked on you forever.
Yep, you will deal full damage from the back row of your own party, and you'll deal full damage to any enemy formation that has its own back row. It's very useful in a CPU fight, and it has another few applications as well.
Yep. One of the notable things about Cecil is that he has an auto cover mechanic. Anybody in critical HP, he'll jump in front of him, but if he's in the back row, he will take the back row half damage. So back row glitching as Cecil is a good way to tank through physical spots. No, you don't have to get in a fight. You just have to equip it. Somebody in chat was asking. And Eizan is about to find.
Fight. If you do try and pull it off in a fight, you're going to need to take an action with the character, I believe, before the glitch finalizes.
That's right. It's pseudo similar to the Avenger glitch, where the game doesn't recalculate your weapon stats until you've actually taken an action command. And so with the Avenger glitch, you use it to keep on a good weapon. In this case, right, and Plague is down. Plague is down.
First Mooney for getting through a rude plague.
Yep. And we've got Bahamut. For Eizan in the first position. Remembering to put their battle speed lower. Smart for Mumuni. Horum's not swinging for much.
What chat's saying, it looks like it was a reflected count that finally got.
Yep.
Not something I see every day.
No, count does reflect. And then if you can keep it, as I noted, Plague will just keep trying to get anybody that's not marked, so you have to make sure the person that had reflect on them loses the reflect, because it will keep casting itself. And then, as long as you're not at relative agility 1, he will eventually tick down and die. So it is a set of circumstances that doesn't always come up, but sometimes it is the easiest way to get through that fight.
Taking down the Bahamut. Trouble, unsurprisingly, with those holy weapons. So we're going to see another character and a second boss here in a moment.
And there's that crystal sword equip. Shwunk shwunk. And level 1 Cecil from the back row kills Pale Bim with the crystal sword.
Don't mess with those holy swords.
No, do not.
Ooh, we've got a sparkle in the back.
Lunar Sparkle. And our character is Sidolphus. Not necessarily who you want with your double Cecil party. And
you've got melee locked up with 2 holy swords and a white spear. Uh-oh.
Wyvern!
Oh, but we get a dodge. The magic in this spot is very weak, and Eizan's going to try and come charging in and get through this 3,000 hit points before... Oh, no, now we have the revive. I thought he was going to go for it first, but this is a better play.
Well, the problem is going to be that Wyvern the nukes are going to be lethal, and Wyvern is fast at the spot. And there we go. That's Cecil is not fast. This is exactly the kind of thing we talked about where your agility anchor being Cecil is a liability, not an asset, because now Eizan doesn't have any options for playing with Cecil's agility, for trying to, speed things up or slow things down. Doesn't have a Dwarfax, doesn't have a Drain Sword, and doesn't have a crystal ring.
Right. Now, if he had found that crystal ring that Moo Money have, he would absolutely
First ring, but yeah.
First ring.
Yep.
Then he would absolutely have options. He'd be able to get the rest of his party at RA1 and probably get a Veil off. But lacking that, this is absolutely a tough spot.
And Mooney finds the second Cecil and is hopefully kept that Excalibur around. Yes, they did. And Mooney has the two Cecils online. Eizan realizes their predicament and is probably going shopping. They didn't check armor shops before, but now they really need to find that cursed ring if they want to get by that wyvern anytime soon.
As earlier, Eizan has a tower key, and there's a 2-for over there. So, given that there's really only one item he's looking for, the Darkness Crystal, he could just walk away from Dwarf Castle and say, maybe I shouldn't beat my head against this wall. Or you can go ahead and get it out of the way now if you can find a curse ring.
Yeah, I mean, notably, that Bahamut fight was doable, but it wasn't fast, right? Like, so slogging through that Bahamut fight for another shot at dying in the Wyvern fight seems like a really bad idea, right? So I'm in complete agreement with abandoning that until you have... And Eizan's going to be doing the deep dive, but we know where the cursed ring is, and it's not here. Also looking for weapons. Not sure what weapons they're looking for, but yeah, they're looking for that cursed ring, and they are not going to find it here. And they didn't even check the armor shop. They're not looking for a cursed ring? Are they just looking for a Dwarfax? Huh. I mean, a Dwarfax would be great because it would let them back row glitch Kane as well, but...
It gives you that differential. As Swimy's pointing out in chat, you need some sort of differential to speed everybody else up. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Mooney is not even going to discover the Bahamut quite yet, and is going up the tower. They, having completed ordeals recently, have the tower key apparently burning a hole in their pocket, and so they are going to check the tower key and or the top of the tower for those two key item spots.
And Leggy's pointing out that depending on what flag set you're used to, sometimes that cursed ring is gated, and you can only find it underground, and you might be in the habit of only looking there for it.
Yep, and under S Pro, I believe it is underground. It is a tier 4 item, so it is not actually hard to find one in a chest, in theory. Tier 4 items are not hard to get to. Alright, Eizan does a bit of shopping, doesn't actually end up buying anything, and goes for another shot.
I think Groundfire in chat is saying that a Drain Sword was found, and that'll get that have agility just like a Dwarfax would, and set up that differential.
Alright, thank you, chat, for correcting me on that front, because Drain Sword is good enough to adjust the agility exactly in that way. A Straw is a -10, but we're not using a Straw for our agility anchor, we're just on a Drain Sword. The Magus Sisters, not the three people manning the super cannon are actually three sisters instead of 3 imps, and but they go down just as easily. And Mooney, having taken care of that, heads to the top of the tower.
Yeah, you don't mind seeing Magus Sisters in the cannon room because there are some spots later. We've got a required Masamune altar, and I would not want to deal with the Magus Sisters there.
No, this is not a party that's rocking heavy AoE damage at the moment, and that's what you want when you're looking at that sort of situation at a high HP spot. Blue robe!
Delectable tea or deadly poison?
Exactly. The blue robes could be the Gauntlet or Water Hag. Water Hag being super free, and Gauntlet being super not free.
It's
Water Hag. Yep. So.
However, chat seems disappointed, but I would like to point out that this keeps the hope alive for the Gauntlet at the Masamune altar.
It's true. Gauntlet at both Wyvern spot and Ogopogo spot is fairly brutal. Obviously, Ogopogo is the more brutal of the two. But the 22,000 lead off, 22,000 HP lead off Fatal Eye when your party doesn't have weak is no slouch.
Right. There have been times I've been clearing out a moon and I see that Fatal Eye and whoop, it's almost as fast a reset as that evil mask.
Yep. So, alright, we find Sid again. We dismiss Sid again. Speed Racer Sid, not fast enough for us.
And there we go.
We get a run buffer, but not enough, and no
close.
dodges.
Close. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, that bombing fight, still not fast. And Mumuni found, two very beatable bosses at the tower, and was able to make significant progress. It looks like they picked up Luca Key at the top of tower, which is not nearly as much progress as they would have wanted. But it is a key item.
So, funny thing, given the issues with Cecil, that Luca Key for a Vanilla Darkness could actually be much more important than it normally is on this flag set.
That is an interesting thing. We rarely have to go to Sealed Cave in these flags unless it's part of the objectives, but I mean, it's not Wyvern. is the Super Wall spot really going to be easier than Wyvern at Gold spot? I don't know.
I mean, when you're dealing with a Cecil anchor, who knows?
And
Until you go down there and look, you don't know what it is.
Just a life staff there, so we are down to 4 open key item spots. And 2 of them in the Fame March, 2 of them at Dwarf Castle.
And
we have the one at Luca. And we have the one at Luca.
Luca open.
Luca's open, technically available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This seed started out rude, got really nice, and is back in the rude bucket again. like the early game was super rude, and then it was like, oh, but like once we get Cecil's online, it'll be great.
Right.
No.
You brought it up, and it has been worn itself out that it's not the Zeromus fight that you worry about the Cecil line. That's
right.
It's getting there.
Right. And I mean, Mumuni doesn't have a Dwarf Axe, doesn't have a Daring Sword, and they're going to run into the exact same problem with Cecil anchoring when the second Mega Nuke caster shows up, and does not wait for the 5 count. Like Bob, will give you a 5 count. Wyvern will not.
No. And I quite frankly would have fallen into the same trap, and I don't think I'm alone. You see those 2 Cecils and those Holy Swords, the urge for it, especially given the lack of DPS options from the remaining characters. It's understandable ending up in this situation.
I think the vast majority of runners would be in the exact same situation. I certainly would be. It's just a question of whether they would have sought out Dwarf Axes and Drain Swords beforehand, whether they would have, whether their run buffering's on point, whether their battle speed's on point. Some people like to run at battle speed too, because they're used to taking techier fights, so to speak. Like any of those things could make the difference. A runner like Zilch, who is known for low level strats, runs on battle speed 2 normally, right? So they'll have an extra few frames to maybe get that action taken care of. Whereas most people kind of leave default, and Mumuni actually runs on battle speed 2 as well.
He's getting the bad news. Gets a dodge from Porum.
Is Porum gonna be able to
goes into life mode?
That life did get off faster than Oh wow, yeah. For whatever reason, yeah, I don't know why Moo multiple times tried to fight with Kane. I think if they had tried to life with Kane, they might have managed to make it, but I think they're behind it.
It is. We saw it happen to Eisen
Yep.
the one time he got a dodge, and sure enough.
It doesn't have any pauses. It's based on its relative agility as per normal, so it's just gonna nuke you into the ground if it can.
And Mooney says one attempt is enough.
And
It's gonna make that Luca dive. Says, you know what? If you want to keep me away from my warp glitch, I can do this the old-fashioned way.
rather than take either of the bosses, a hard physical boss and a Kainazo at the King and Queen spot, Mooney is going to dive a sealed cave, take a long walk, fight a fairly difficult boss as well.
There are any bosses that can be handled there, especially if Mooney picked up an hourglass in a shop. We've seen them. There are still a few bosses that don't have the boss bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Dark Imps. I don't believe we've seen Baron Guards either.
No?
It's a gamble, but you can at least understand the thought process as this seed has become rude. Better the devil you don't know, perhaps.
Right, and I mean, if it happens to be not a key item that you need, right, like that's just a reset out, right? Like you don't have to keep, that just changes the calculus on taking care of Dwarf Castle at all, right? Maybe you find out it's an item you do need, but you can't beat the boss here. At least you know that Dwarf Castle is required, right? Like it's still information you can get that you simply don't have right now. So I think it's entirely reasonable to make this play. Especially because they don't have any grind options. They don't have an edge. They can't steal sirens, right? Like their grind right now is killing Chess and Self, right? Like that's or killing doors here, right? Like,
Right.
like their grinds right now are really, really desperate. Baron Key, you got to take that.
Yeah, it at least opens the world up for you. You get a couple of key item checks that if you can get by the bosses, then you're there.
Yep.
That's going to be required to get through. It's
deep. Lunars. This is beatable here. It's not fun, but it is beatable.
It is. I mean, you're gonna have to froggy it.
I think we're gonna see some lunar frogs, if anything. Meanwhile, Eisen is back on the double Bahamut Wyvern party. And yeah, Mooney cancels out of that attempt. Now they know that there's a very good item hiding behind here. What are they going to do? They haven't tried it with Cursed Ring. Is that what's happening here? It is.
Looks it.
Gotta put him in before the other Cecil. Yep, that will work.
Mm-hmm.
When you have multiple Cecils, it picks your party order in the game is middle slot, top slot, bottom slot, second slot, fourth slot is the actual in-game 1 through 5. So the vanilla agility setting will pick the first of those as your agility anchor. So if you want the slow Cecil to be in a slot before your good Cecil, bad Cecil and good Cecil as I refer to them. So in this case, Mooney correctly putting bad Cecil before good Cecil, and we will see what happens.
Meanwhile, Eisen's taking another swing at the Wyvern. We'll see if he's able to get through this time.
Yep. Nope. Didn't even get a prompt. We have definitely leveled one Cecil more than the other at this point. Eisen took the fight at the top of tower and downed Cecil in the meantime. Trying to adjust again. Goes for the Drain Sword and the lower battle speed, and we're seeing a lot of really great adjusting. If you're not familiar with all of the techie tricks you can try and do to deal with difficult agility situations in this game, right? They are on display here. Everything they're throwing the kitchen sink at attempting to get past this difficult wyvern spot.
Right. As we've said, it's just because the options are not attractive for all.
Yeah.
As bad as this wyvern is, physical Feymarch or the D-Lunars at Sealed Cave, none of these.
Yeah, these are all fairly rough things. And again, like the last thing would be you could grind your way out of it, but they don't have a grind, right? Like they don't have sirens. And that's like, this isn't something that happens often, but it is one of those cases where it really comes down to who has, no small bit of luck, but also who has the technical knowledge to figure out how to get past this. Again, going for the attack, but actually gets a second action and a third. Wow.
Hope for a dodge and get the 3,000 in.
That cursed ring did a lot there. Did not.
Eizan was through. Or is that the Bahamut?
I was Bahamut for Eizan.
My bad.
Yeah. But Mooney did get in a swing. That is a second swing. It's not enough. But Wyvern hasn't got their wall up yet. I think Mooney's cursed ring is going to get them through this. And that's exactly... That is exactly why we picked a cursed ring. Yep. That is exactly why we want a cursed ring. Alright. Eizan did get an action. Trying to fit in a Star Veil. Does not get it.
It's a dodge. Immediately throws a life.
Yep.
And just throwing up plenty of in that moment, handle.
Yeah, and again, right, like we see getting to queue up 2 or 3 actions to Wyvern's 1. Again, I think Eizan's got enough of an agility anchor here that the solution is there. As long as that nuke doesn't hit Cecil, I think that Berserk Crystal Sword Cecil is going to take care of the problem. Hook? No, you bought. No! Moo didn't warp.
You go through that wyvern fight so many times, and you can understand a warp slipping, but that's cost the bearing.
Yeah. So
Moo did go through the Moo went through Luca, but had to reset out. So at least what he's missing. Hopefully, he doesn't think that he has it already.
Yes. The hook does have a key item hiding behind it because we have the rat tail. Has a character hiding behind it. Mooney hadn't seen this character yet. Eizan is not going to be forgetting that warp and will be getting their Baron key. We do not want that Yang, but we do want this hovercraft. Eizan will follow up by getting their hook.
So, check the freebie. Moo's taking the hook over to the Adamant Grotto.
That is 9 key items for Eizan. We are very close to 10 key items, all on the blue planet. Pink. Crystal Sword number 2?
Hey, why not?
Yeah!
You commit that hard to keeping paladins around, you deserve to be rewarded, and
it's Magnus Crystal. Baron is not required, but this does leave Moo at 9 key 10. And that is relevant because in the randomizer we have a double XP setting for having 10 key items.
Getting through that wyvern absolutely required. Needed it for the hook. And both of our runners right about the same time pulling it off, though I imagine we're both feeling horribly behind.
Oh yeah, both of them have to feel behind at this point, but they are. We can see that, except for the fact that one of them has Baron and the other doesn't, that they are in lockstep. Like I said, that the 10 key item thing could totally matter here.
And so you go up to the moon, you see who the bosses are there, and if you can get past them now, or if you're going to need to grind first.
Yep. Yeah, and double crystal will solve a lot of problems for you. That's for sure. Even without sirens. And that's the other thing. We still don't have a grind. We don't have weak. We don't have sirens.
Well, the moon itself is going to open up that option. The bosses up there offer a lot of XP. If you just scout the whole place out and take the bosses in the order from for your party to strongest, you can start climbing that ladder. It might be
right. Ooh, Eizan is going to check, probably checking the Eblin shops, possibly looking for sirens or Bacchus wines.
Which would both be very useful, and might even be... I'd be a little surprised to see them die for the character, but at least if they do, he has exit. And they're both there.
Ooh, yeah. Sells the Excalibur because we don't need it anymore. Selling claws. And we are going in on wine and noisy things.
Yep.
And that makes perfect sense. We have a heavy physical party. We only have one white mage. We want those Bacchus wines. We want them badly.
Yes.
They are going to, in this game, Berserk is 1.5x damage, and you don't have to wait the tick for your fight to queue up. Mute bells in the moon shop. And Eizan is going to check the character.
You're here. It's not that long to walk.
No, it's a pretty quick walk.
Exit will get you right back out.
Interesting. Why is Mooney going for the Bahamut cave play without Siren?
If moon bosses are your grind, might as well check one here.
And that's Iridia, which we are not interested in. This spot is fairly difficult as far it's more difficult than its XP would tell you. It is a fast spot with fairly high physical attack. A physical boss. It's the gauntlet. If you want experience,
it's a grind. And others.
Yeah. This is a grind. If you can tear through this stuff fast enough.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up hourglasses. That is going to be a problem here. We had hourglasses in Dwarf Castle. Hourglasses would trivialize this. At least this fight, and probably a number of the others.
Oh, and that blaze coming in, dealing hit point based damage, ice damage, despite its name. Yep. An end to that first fight.
Yep. And it does not want to go back to it. Now, I think if they had hourglasses, I think that gauntlet probably goes way differently.
Oh, absolutely.
But
turn around and climb the ladder. But yeah, absolutely. Eizan is absolutely in the driver's seat with that Evelyn check.
Mm-hmm.
Easier time of the grind.
Yep.
Does not need to concern himself with any of the other bosses. Just picks his favorite summoning spot.
Mooney puts Cursed Ring Iridia in the middle, which does not work under this flag set.
It does not. Unfortunately. Well, hey!
Hey! We found sirens.
We did. We found sirens?
And we found sirens.
And we pulled them by a legendary ninja sword. We know where that is.
Yep. And we are no longer interested in that Iridia. We are... And what is Mooney's response? Get back in the whale. Get back to the blue planet.
Go down to steel since he hasn't checked the Evelyn shop.
Yeah, maybe. That maybe stealing. May just be buying ninja swords. It's tough to say.
We'll see.
And Eisen gets the same choice. And
Makes
the same swap.
Yeah. Takes a moment to think about it, but yes.
We don't have a way to back row glitch Edge, I don't believe, and we haven't seen any swords for him. And Eisen's
long and missed, and then the one we did see a legendary katana in Kakol, but no reason to pick them up in advance.
Right. No, we didn't. I'm saying that we didn't see any that were just in our inventory.
Yes.
We saw Buyable Ninja, Long, and Murasame, so we have options. And Mumuni is going for the Siren Steel grind. We know that it would have been faster to go buy them, but this is not too terrible world to live in. Unfortunately, that's Eisen is possibly pulling away with this. Unfortunately for Mumuni, anyway.
We do have the steel team. From has Cry, and the only thing it can do for it is make steel easier.
Yep, that is one of the weird side cases. It doesn't do anything else of note, but it does technically make stealing easy.
But it's not something that everyone is aware of.
No. It's one of those weird things. People in chat noted that there are ways to speed up this process, where like killing off characters rather than letting their turns come up and having to parry, right? Like just speeding up the process of stealing things. And while Eisen cracks their first underground siren, finds the King Ryus, uses the hourglasses.
It'll take a little time. I don't believe I've seen no Dragoon Lance. But
nope. White spears and crystal swords are all that he's got going for him.
Which isn't the worst thing I've ever taken to a King Ryu fight, I'll admit.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, almost 2k on the back row, Cecil. With Berserk. That's...
reaching into the back row of the formation. Oh, there we go. That's a little...
Ooh, that's a good roll. And of course he switches to front row instead of killing.
Just can't rely on people hopped up on Bacchus wine to go battle.
Not quite.
Logical and efficient manner.
One more swing will kill either of them. And there it is. And so this is the double dragon grind as it's referred to. With 10 key items, this will give 180,000 experience. And that's a lot.
Have a slingshot. 29 levels.
The Cecil that Eisen kind of left behind, right, like, is now the requisite number of levels below the rest of the party's average to get what we refer to as a slingshot, which is double experience again. So that Cecil got 4x experience, where compared to everybody else's 2.
Taking a look at agility numbers, thinking about that Z fight.
And so we hinted at agility anchoring. While Mumuni finished up their siren stealing, is probably going to go to their grind. At level 44 or 45, Cecil has 28 agility. It is such that 28 agility is exactly enough to put yourself at what we refer to as relative agility 2. And as such, is kind of the default agility that you end up at if you're doing a normal Cecil anchored situation. Without any trickery. Relative agility 2 for the rest of your party. Relative agility 5 for the Cecil in the middle. Or relative agility 2 for Zergomus. Which is to say that it takes 2 active time battle ticks for Zergomus to fill up his ATB meter. Everybody else is then calculated based relative to that center Cecil. It's 28 agility as to how fast they are. So you'll throw around terms like RA1, relative agility 1 or 5 or something, but really I like to think of it like a tactics games ATB system, or like a tactic games ticks, just like every tick things advance. Mumuni is searching shops for hourglass.
For those hourglass.
Yep, and they're going to find them here. Thankfully, buy a 10 stack. Sure, why not? What else are you going to spend money on? The answer being ninja swords.
Nothing as important, certainly. So,
no.
Mooney will come on up and get into the same grind that Eizen's already started.
Yep. Boink. Can't quite land on that edge there. So yeah, Eizen is a bit ahead on the grind. We'll see.
On the grind, and with the 10 key items, definitely with the lead.
Yep.
Finish their grind before Mooney gets it started.
So now we see there's Cecil at 45 in the middle, and now the question is, does Eizen care about middle Cecil's agility or not? As we said earlier, right, like when you've got enough power, it doesn't really matter. But the farther you get from that 28 above it, the faster Threemus gets relative to the rest of your party. And so while it doesn't matter too much if you're over by a little, it starts to matter more and more.
Yeah, Threemus is going to be at RA2 anywhere between 28 and 41 agility on your anchor. Mm-hmm. You can go down more if you can get all the way to 42, but faster your anchor gets, the slower everyone else in your party gets. And you're
right. Yep, that's why we use the term relative agility, because it really is about your agility relative to the anchor. And so, as the anchor speeds up, everybody else has to keep up with them in terms of speed. So it's all very interesting, and in Football Gauntlet, you saw a lot more of people managing to use, to use cursed rings and such, and just putting people at extremely low agilities and everybody being very fast. But again, with vanilla agility on, if you have a Cecil, that is no longer an option. Eizen deciding that agility is just a number, and is going to the Wyvern spot.
It's happy with his grind at the spot, and it's going to go see what the boss is.
Yep. And as we noted, this is where the 9 key items comes to hurt Mooney, because Mooney's grind is where you saw 1800s for Eizen. There are going to be 90,000s for Mooney.
But Mooney is aware of the problem and is going to go straight to the Crystal Sword altar, going to knock out the objective, and probably hoping to get that 10th key item before firing up the grind. Heads up play.
Yeah, so it's smart play. If the boss is free, where like take your key item, take your experience and take your key item and run with it. It makes sense, so we may well see synced up fights here. Oh yeah, no, like that's why we said that with 2 Crystal Sword Cecils, right, like people often don't care. Revenant Fate, that right, like at a certain point, it just becomes a power overwhelming situation. And again, we see Mooney putting the cursed ring on somebody that isn't a Cecil and putting them in the middle.
Some habits are tough to break. And you can definitely, with the challenges that the runners have faced in this seed, sometimes you see some of the top tier runners pulling some things off, and they make it look so easy, and that's just a sign of how good they are.
Mm-hmm. We see the double nope noodles. This is a fight that typically most easily taken care of by physical fighters, of which we have numerous. So this should be a very winnable fight. The main problem being that between waves, Ogopogo's pretty punchy, and that's not working out well for Mooney, while Eizen, with a lot more levels, managing to do just fine.
Yeah, a very different fight for each of these parties. You've still got to get through 24,000 worth of experience, and even if you have one person that's left completely alone, 4 waves will put you down no matter who you are.
It is a key item. So if Mumuni manages to pull this off, they will be at 10. It is not a particularly useful key item, although at least we can throw it now. But
and the fourth wave comes in before Ogo can get cut down.
Yep. So now we see how Mumuni is going to grind.
Or checking Masamune. Same as Crystal Sword Altar, just hoping it's the tougher spot, but Ogo's a rude boss anywhere you find him. Maybe can find key item 10 over there.
Yep. See Eizan proceeding down as well.
Patching everyone up. The spell's in order, and we should see they should both hit the Masamune altar right around the same time.
Yeah. If that is Mumuni's target, it's possible Mumuni could go for either of the other key item spots. And it looks like they are.
True. If you wanted an easier fight, this is also the other relatively soft spot on the moon. And it's a free Baron Guards. Hello.
Yep. So a free 32,000 or so experience. And a key item check. Not a bad choice. No, I mean this is heads up, right? Like Mumuni is kind of behind right now, but heads up play. We have Pain Man.
That's watch that, man. 900 on the first shot. Now, you get enough actions in to heal up somebody, your person of choice. You'll get through this.
Yep.
It's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's going to take Porn down before she can land that heal. Right now it's close. Another potion should seal it. All right, and Eizan will be just fine.
Yep. Yeah, no, you gotta be quick on the draw. So don't. That
is definitely. You're going to have to be pretty much ready for Z when you come across that.
You certainly need a lot of HP or Cure 3s. Cure 3s would have, been much more effective on the healing front. But
when you're chucking Cure 2s, just these.
Yep, and Mumuni is crystal sorting his way through that. Unfortunately, we will not be completing that objective today. But that does mean that the moon had everything except for the Legend Sword and Adamant.
Oh, that.
And no
for all the rudeness that he threw in with the double Cecil bait into the required wyvern at Dwarf Castle, putting the pan behind DKC at Masamune is the final touch.
Yep. Mooney unfortunately finding an Excalibur in the White Spear spot, which is not what they were looking for. Gonna go for the ribbon spot, while Eizan is going back to cabin. Evil Wall at the ribbon spot, 42,000 HP of pain.
That's not pretty. That's not at all.
No, that's really not. I mean, again, we're like Evil Wall is a boss that physical tends to be the easiest way to go, although it only counters magic with Baby Petrify, so not a real problem. And Eizan wants some more levels. Alright, that is not the Zeromus direction, so Eizan is going to burn a Siren or two more. Are they going to aim for 28 agility with the Drain Sword?
Yep, 33 agility total. It looks like exactly what Eizan is going for.
Yep. So yeah, as we talked about, Drain Sword and Dwarf Axe both reduce your agility by 5. So that means that 28 target that I talked about, if you over level by a little, you can go right back down to it if you want to. And it looks like that's what Eizen's going to try and target here. As we said, it's not necessary per se, but it does make the agility it makes the rest of your party as fast as possible. Relative to your anchor.
It'll make his Z fight go a little smoother. And you never want to take Z for granted. He will humble you.
He can. I mean, with 2 crystal swords, he finds it hard to humble you, but
True story.
2 crystal swords and this much HP, he will not necessarily find it easy to humble you, but it's been known to happen. So Eizen's just playing it relatively safe, making sure that Porum gets wiped. So we have attack options for all the characters. 53 Cecil's not enough. You need 1 more, but if you do another fight, you'll go above. So,
Eisen getting back to his standard battle speed 2.
Yep, and
it looks like Mooney got bounced off that evil wall.
I'm gonna go give it another shot.
It's a rough fight in that spot. I'll give it another.
Wow, I see this. I feel like Eisen, with checking that agility stuff, I feel like Eisen is very much targeting the drain sword agility, and so this will probably be their last grind fight. Two levels. That's what we wanted to see there. Cecil at 55 is what you wanted there. All right, and that is what you were aiming for. And Eisen is off to the save point and the Threemus battle. Because there is nothing else that they need at this point.
And I agree with you. I expect that Eisen will have this fight well in hand.
Battle speed is always where I intend it.
He's a battle speed wizard. Never too fast.
If my battle speed is at 5, it's because I wanted it to be at 5.
I see flags and questions in Mecha.
Yeah, that's why.
Chat, Mecha, why are these here?
Well, this is a randomizer. We randomize a lot of stuff, but as you'll note, we never talk about Threemus showing up anywhere else. That's because Threemus has lots of complicated scripts and fiddly bits, and so we can't really move him around, and we like him being the last boss anyway. So instead of randomizing his position, we randomize his velocity, his sprite. So the Z question mark is a by default flag that we have on that randomizes that sprite that basically nobody turns off because it's fun. So the question, as it were, is whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Because once we use the crystal on it, Threemus will show us his true colors, and they could be anything. Well, not anything. There's only there's 450 or more sprites in the bucket, so a lot of options from throughout RPG history and video game history, as well as memes, puns, and just some things that tickle the fancy of the creators. In this case, Shalakili has done most of the work on the sprites, although not all of it. I see your truth
has come.
Grg.
Hey.
Oh.
I mean, I'm...
Maybe I'm a lion. I really do like the extreme. The only problem with the song The Extreme is that it gets good a minute 30 in, but once it gets to a minute 30 in, it's choice. Like it does
true.
Does take that minute 30 to get up to it, but when it does. So we see Eisen using a spell on Threemus, gets the nuke counter. Cecil takes it like a champ, and everybody drinks Bacchus wine to apply that berserk status, and that is pretty much the plan here. We have 4 people ready to berserk up, and Porum is going to keep them alive just long enough to do the job.
And the only question now is, will we see Quint? Chat's calling for it. After the first Big Bang.
Yeah, after the first Big Bang, it doesn't really matter. Porum's not surviving the second one. So you heal up after this one, and then maybe if Porum gets another action. Ooh, this DKC fight, you need...
Yeah, Mooney's getting the bad news. These hit point not getting the job done.
Oh, life is the wrong thing to use there. If you had elixirs or cure threes, right, like, you might have been able to pull that off. Alright, Mooney's options have basically been explored. Every boss has been poked. And you know, Mooney now knows that either they're going for chests or they're using sirens. And they're using
the siren room, leveling up to deal with the bosses. The time has come.
Yep. And just letting Porum sit there, just letting Porum wait for the end, or not. With this amount of damage, it's possible we never see another Big Bang.
That is where I'd put my bet if I chose to.
If I was a betting man, which I am, I would not take that action against you. It is very likely, with this over, the Cecils alone are doing 13,000. Another, 15.
Yeah, you're gonna burn through each phase of this fight before. Yeah. And here we have rocks. Sure enough,
we got rocks. Yep. The rocks will not kill anybody at this point. Didn't even hit Porum an edge, and we should see the Flash. That Cure 4 is a waste of time. Eizan, I am disappointed. And no, we're gonna need a Cecil to finish it. Nope, there it is. There it is. GG.
Well done,
EizanTayama.
Taking down like it was going to be so kind and decided to be trolly and rude towards the end, still finding life through in just under 90 minutes.
Yep, well, that was definitely a seed that was a roller coaster ride of bad characters into good gear into bad bosses, and Eizan and Mooney both had to fight through it, and Eizan is the one who fought through it the quicker.
And we'll see if Eizan would like to join us for an interview in a little bit. In the meanwhile, then he's still working on the Gold Dragons.
Yep.
Jeffy in chat wondering what Quint means. Quint means Quint Zerker. You have 5 people in your party, and Quint Zerker means you berserked them all at some point during the Z fight.
You berserk them all, put down your controller, and have a nap, because it no longer matters. The Z fight ends however it ends.
Everything is out of your hands. The controller might as well be too.
Yep. And that is
also might be giving us a taste of music.
That is a recent addition, where once you have beaten the seed, you can go back to Edward's harp in his room and talk to it, and it will play the randomized twin harp song, because rather than listen to Edwards' song every time we go there, we have a randomized twin harp song. So if you've ever wanted to hear generally video game themes done in their 16-bit glory on a harp, this is the randomizer for you. And yeah, that you can do it after you've beaten the game is a nice quality of life add, because a lot of people, like, when they had the twin harp, would go back and do it anyway on their own runs. So having it as an option that you don't need to find the twin harp to listen to music is a nice thing.
And Eizan isn't going to be able to get on the mic, but as you can see, Eizan is here to chat with us. So if you'd like to ask him any questions, he'll respond here. About that wyvern. Absolutely, the bottleneck of the seed that said this is what you're gonna have to deal with.
You both struggle with it, right?
And how are you thinking about how you were finally gonna have to get through that?
Yeah, you both struggle with it for sure. Yeah, with the way we were talking about it was to see your character options in the beginning were really weak, and then suddenly you got all the crystal swords that you could ever want, and then Wyvern showed up and was a jerk. Yes, that was exactly it. Was your boss options were cut down? Your options were cut down tremendously, and there were no grinds. So.
Yeah, because as rude as that Wyvern was, those Feymarch bosses at those levels weren't going to be any kinder. At least with Wyvern, once you get the RA figured out and get yourself a wall up, you've got a fighting chance.
Yep. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. You both went to tower rather than keep banging your head against. No, cursed rings are not gated. You're not the only person that's gotten Eizan. On S standard, you can find cursed rings in the overworld. Yep. And yep, they are T4 items, so you can find them in a lot of as well. I found one in the Kaipo pot once. That was choice. It's like ding, cursed ring. Don't mind if I do.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like that's solved.
Yep. So. Yep. Exactly. No, it is the case, right? And that's exactly what we were talking about. Whereas Mooney, right, tried to do cursed rings on people other than Cecil, right? The flags that can change in this can really mess up your instincts or your mental way when we do something that's so common, right? It's, agility, and then vanilla agility comes in and just hits you upside the head, and everything's different. Guarded by our finest NPCs. You are not wrong.
You got 3 of them handling the blocking there.
Yep. Yep, and so
the Wyvern's the big one, Eizan. Are there any other spots during the seed that caught your eye?
Mm-hmm. And we see Mooney, they leveled up a bit and they went back to the evil wall, looking for that 10th key item to speed up their grind. We know that the 10th key item is behind either of the objectives, of course. It's possible that there's one here as well. As the package, Sand Ruby, Twin Harp, Earth Crystal are all in unknown locations at the moment. So they definitely have a chance of hitting their 10th key item here.
Yep.
And this is not an easy fight for them, but they are managing.
No, but Ogo and DKC were rude, but not after grinding. Yes.
Yeah.
That's really the big thing that got you out in front, is that you checked Edlin and found the sirens there. Mooney had to run back to Earth after finding Edge to steal them, and you had the presence of mind to handle the work glitch.
Twin Harp and package. We go from 9 to 11, and grind is online. Over the Hill from Final Fantasy IX, one of the many melodies of life on that soundtrack. Still a good song, but note how much the motif of Melodies of Life goes through a number of the songs in Final Fantasy IX. Yeah.
You're not wrong, but yes, let's take a moment and listen to this music. beautiful harp music. I mean, there's no bad harp music, but this one in particular is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, this has got a very good long loop to it for an overworld theme, and if the harp does a very good job of playing with both lines of the melody. So really quality stuff, and this is the kind of thing you see when you've got dedicated volunteers like Shala and Boardface, kind of driving the bus on this creative work, and people like Rivers managing the balance. Rivers McSocks dude.
Yep, and Calamity Massacre, handling a lot of these harp remixes as well.
Yep. Mooney has decided to re-engage with their objectives. Cecil's doing their covering job, managing to keep some people up.
All right, I've got one last question for you, Eizan, and then if you have any last thoughts, or if you have any questions, Mecca. You're 2-0 now. You know that you're out of the hook group and into Magma, and another win is going to have you to table. Are you excited? How do you like your chances in your last match?
Yeah, and who is the third in Anima group that Eizan is going to have to battle?
Hopfer, looks like, is Eizan's third.
Okay. That's a name that I recognize, so probably know how to do something. I don't actually know people that well. No, I mean, that will be another interesting one. One of the weird things about a group stage is that it's possible that nobody goes 3-0 out of a group. But yeah, Eikover is definitely a quality player. And Mooney, right, even taking a loss here, right, like they could still make it to Magma if they can pick up some wins elsewhere in their group. But yeah, it's possible for a group to send nobody to Magma directly, or to the table directly, if different people win and lose against each other.
Yeah, and that's right, Eizan. You definitely can't overlook anyone, but anyone that made it through to the brackets and Gauntlet, you surely cannot sleep on.
No way. Yeah, I mean, this race is as we said, like this race showed off a lot of kind of the tricks that you have to pull with agility, right? Like a lot of the angles, kind of weird angles that vanilla agility can throw at you. And it's such a small thing, right? Like Mooney, a non-required key item, leaving them at 9 instead of 10, sent them down this sort of attempt to get a last key item that just didn't quite work out for them. Not a huge thing, but 10 versus 9 made a huge difference here.
Mm-hmm. And he did what he could to recover from it, looking at various moon spots to try and find that key item, but were just rude places.
Yep. No, I mean, there was very smart adjustments, by Mooney, right? Like they are like that. They clearly have knowledge, right? Like the knowledge to back up their play, just didn't work out for them. Yeah, and they didn't manage to pick up life, so they don't. They're a little limited on life glitching as well.
I doubt that he's gonna find his way through it. If he was throwing the towel, he'd have done it at least 10 minutes ago. And he's going to see this through and get through this seed and take down the seed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, right, like it's just a matter of time. One of the things I like to say to people when they say, oh, like I'm bad at RPGs, or almost like so many RPGs, it's just a matter of time, right? Like there's an infinite amount of experience and gold. It's just how much time are you willing to spend playing the game? That's why when people make kata seeds, which are kind of what we refer to the hardest seeds that our flag sets allow as kata seeds. One of the big parts of those is that you can't turn on encounters, and there's no sirens. So the experience you get from the bosses is the experience you get in total. Bosses and trap chests. So, right, like unless the amount of experience in the seed is limited somehow, you can always get there. Eventually, your level 99.5 Edward team will be capable of taking down Threemus. Eventually. Yeah, trap chests really do have a ton of the experience in kata seeds.
Mooney has dialed up his last siren and is saving outside of Ogo, correctly deciding that of the two fights, he'd deal with that one first. And in mid-40s, I like his chances to get through this time.
Yep, these numbers are definitely comparable to Eizan's when he took down this fight. I believe Porum will have Cure 4 at this point. At least I hope Porum has Cure 4 at this point, and that will make the healing easier. And yeah, so all that considered. I expect this to go a little, although I guess we weren't fully healed because Kane was quickly on the ground.
Illusions! I make your mage waste time casting Blink when you can just cast it yourself. And they could do some healing.
Yeah. Pogo is definitely one of the bosses you want to go in all healed up. Because those waves are percentage of your HP based. And so you walk in, it's classic, you're in Dwarf, you've taken some hits, you've taken some lumps in the first Dwarf Castle battle, but you're fine. You walk into the second fight and it's Ogo Pogo, and you realize your entire team's below half health and you're dead.
And he's just taking a moment, collect himself, figure out what his next move is. It's amazing how much difference that can make. Just take 30 seconds to a minute and breathe, and just something occurs to you that you've been overlooking the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, especially as a seed goes on the longer side, sometimes taking those moments to recover can be something, or it looks like Mooney will be giving up after all. Unfortunately,
It might be. It's unstoppable, particularly if he's on the East Coast like I am, where it's 11 at night, and you've seen the other Dun come in, and you know that at some point you're just beating your head against the wall. Hopefully, he's able to go back and look at the VOD and learn some things from this and be better prepared for his next two matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mooney did a lot of things right. Made a lot of good checks. Getting the cursed ring. The cursed ring made their fight at Dwarf Castle. They got through it in less attempts than Eizan. I think Mooney did a lot of things right. Just the few things that went wrong just really went wrong for them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just not going to go your way, and all you can really do is dust yourself off and go at it again. And even Mooney's still got a chance to make Magma by taking down their next two. And even if not, there are some people that are going to come out of the hook route. It might as well be Mooney as anyone.
That's right. So that is the last scheduled race for the night. As Commander Leonhardt noted, it is late on the Coast, and we are a generally East Coast-based group. Be sure to show some love to Leggy Starscream and Poorside, who behind the scenes made this all come together, managed the streams, managed the music, as it were, and kept everything going. Of course, Commander Leonhardt, and competing in the Highway to the Threemus zone, and myself as well. All my races are next week. But yeah, thank you all for showing up. We've got more races tomorrow. We've got races probably every day for the next 2 months, 3 months easy, because after these 3 weeks, there's another 3 weeks, then there's play-ins, then there's table, then there's brackets after table. So there is weeks and weeks and weeks of Highway to the Threemus Zone for everybody to watch on the Randomania Network as well as Free Enterprise.
And thanks for sharing the booth with me, Mecca. Pleasure. Sure. And we're going to send you off to watch Locke Cole live.
It's good that he's live, otherwise you won't be able to watch him.
That would be rough.
All right. Thank you all. See you another time in Free Enterprise.